I don't want to normalize this. I don't ever want to go through this again. I don't ever want these people to go through this again. I don't ever want to have to go get my child from a lockdown school. I don't ever have to explain this to my daughters. We can't normalize this.
An emotional speech just hours ago from St. Louis public school leaders. We have learned no students or staff will be allowed back into Central Cvpa school building this week following the deadly shooting yesterday. School picks back up Monday virtually. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. We also learned that the school has been turned back over to the school district and is no longer considered a crime scene. 15-year-old student Alex Bell and 61-year-old PE and health teacher Jean Kushka died in the shooting yesterday. Eventually, the gunman was killed by police. We have team coverage tonight with the latest on the investigation, what we're learning about the shooter and the victims. We start with Elise Schoening, live from South St. Louis, where the school officials just gave an update. Elise.
Yeah, those officials just told us that starting next Monday, Central Cvpa High School will go back to virtual learning for an unprecedented amount of weeks or even months to follow. For the rest of this week, there will be no class for students or staff. Now, like you guys said, according to the superintendent, Dr. Kelvin Adams, the building is no longer considered a crime scene and has been handed back over to the district. Now, students and staff are still not allowed back in the building even during this time, but the district is working out plans for staff and students to collect their belongings. We're told this could be as early as Thursday they're able to do this. The district is also working closely with several partners to provide anyone affected with in-person and online counseling services. Board of Education President Matt Davis says more needs to be done.
This is the 40th school shooting this year. It was just a couple months where we were in this room having a moment of silence for Uvalde. There's how many hundreds of bills, hundreds of solutions, hundreds of things where people can come together and compromise to protect their Second Amendment rights and to protect our kids in school.
You can see here behind me, there's still an ongoing memorial that's happening here. They're honoring that student and that teacher who was killed yesterday. And of course, you can see they're putting up some signs, some balloons, and you can see that even despite the rain that's happening today, there is absolutely nothing that can wash away any of the emotions or the feelings that these people are having here today as they just come together and try to think about what they have, which is each other right now. Reporting live in St. Louis, Elise Schoening, 5 on your side.
Notes left behind by a school shooter reveal more about his mental state.
He wrote, quote, "I don't have any friends. I don't have any family. I've never had a girlfriend. I've never had a social life. I've been an isolated loner my entire life. This was the perfect storm for a mass shooter."
And tonight we are learning more about the evidence police are uncovering. Sarah Maki is live outside police headquarters.
Yeah, Kelly, it is exceedingly rare that we hear leaders talk aloud, read from a letter like this after an incident like we saw on Monday. But Interim Police Chief Michael Sack, he said he did so because there are lessons to be learned from this, as he also went into more information about the way this whole thing was planned. I want you to take a look. He did share some images today of the AR-15 that was used in the Monday attack. He said that there were also so many rounds of ammunition involved. He said on that gun that it might have been altered or missing parts, but we weren't able to ask any follow-up questions about how that might have impacted the gun's usage. Sack did say that the shooter stockpiled more than 600 rounds of ammunition, carrying 7 magazines on a chest strap, 8 more magazines in a field bag, and strategically dropping even more ammunition around the building. Sack said it is important to study what this shooter did and the warning signs so that we can prevent more violence in the future.
When we're more engaged with one another, we're more aware of what each person is going through, we can do what we can to try and seek help for them, even if that's just reporting it to authorities.
We also heard today for the first time the way that the officers from St. Louis Public Schools had joined in training with officers from the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. They went through that seminar, that session, just about a month and a half ago, and they said that some of the lessons they learned there were used on Monday. Reporting live tonight, Sarah Maki, 5 on your side.
And the shooter also left more information for police to find inside his car, including how he studied similar attacks and mapped out his plan.
5 on your side's Christine Byers has been talking to sources familiar with this investigation since it happened. And Christine is here to tell us what she has learned.
Mike and Kelly, sources tell me Orlando Harris wanted to become the next school shooter to gain national attention. So he left a list of school shooters who have come before him in his car and a list of how many people they killed. Police say the gunman lived here along Pennsylvania Avenue on the city's southeast side. He parked this blue Dodge Charger along Arsenal Street near the school. Inside, sources tell me they found that list of school shootings as well as a map of the school he targeted. Sources tell me he also left a detailed description of how he got the AR-15 rifle he used during Monday's shooting. He said he tried to buy the weapon at a gun show in St. Charles but was turned down. He ended up buying it from a private dealer instead. Harris graduated from Cvpa last year. Manfred McGee is the Dean of Arts at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School. He remembered Harris as a student. On Monday, McGee dodged his bullets and his son is among the injured.
Seen here on the stretch.
He was a somewhat quiet student, kind of like a gamer. You know, he was in the video games, that type of thing. You know, he was a quiet kid, but I remember him well.
On hearing his name just now, I mean, are you surprised that this was him?
I'm surprised that this happened, period. The whole scenario, I'm surprised. Again, he was a quiet kid.
Now, Mr. McGee said his 16-year-old son, Anthony, was shot in the back of his leg, and he remains hospitalized today following surgery. I checked back in with him today earlier, and he said his son was able to get some rest overnight.
Christine, thanks. As we mentioned earlier, the 15-year-old girl killed in the shooting was Alex Bell. She was a 10th grader at the school. Her adopted father tells us she was outgoing and loved to dance. They were supposed to celebrate her 16th birthday next month.
It's a nightmare. She was everything to me. She was the woman that kept me going.
He lives in California now, but tells us he's going to fly to St. Louis to plan the funeral.
And health teacher Jean Kushka was also killed in the shooting. She worked at the school for 14 years. Her students tell us she died protecting them. Eureka police say her son is Corporal Joseph Kushka and works with the department. They released a statement saying, quote, "He is a son, a father, and a friend. We stand behind him and his family during these very difficult times." Project 5 is teaming up with Behavioral Health Response following the shooting. Anyone who is struggling with their mental health can call the number on your screen. It's 314-469-6644. Again, 469-6644. Trained counselors are there to answer your call through 10:30 tonight.
Up next, we continue our team coverage on the deadly school shooting, the preparation from police and the school that may have saved lives.
I'm Robert Townsend. Right now, lots of community leaders are gathering here in North St. Louis at a church to honor those who lost their lives during that mass shooting. I'll have a live report coming up.
Many lives were saved at Central VPA High because of the quick response by St. Louis police. At 9:11, a call came in for an active shooter. Just 4 minutes later, police arrived and entered the building. At 9:23, police found the suspect, and then 2 minutes later, he was taken down. Soon after, the building was secured. Tonight, school leaders and Mayor Tashara Jones are praising police for the quick response. Mayor Jones even saying, quote, "The school did everything right."
5 on your side's Mercedes McKay learned more about that response today. And Mercedes, what did you learn?
Mike and Kelly, every single person who got up to speak at the press conference this morning reiterated how they were prepared for this. That means everyone from the police who ran into that building to the school security officers to even the teachers and students inside. Now, it's an unfortunate reality of what schools and officers have to prepare for now: active shooters. Interim Police Chief Michael Sachs says every officer in his department goes through active shooter class once a year. The school security does the exact same thing. An important part of that course, which came into play yesterday, is that they all do it at different times. So even though they didn't know each other personally, they all got this same exact training and were able to implement it together. The district's director of safety and security emphasized that everyone in the school goes through that same training and did everything right yesterday.
They were part of the teams that made entry into the building, so that collaboration worked. The drills worked. The kids worked. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. They barricaded those doors. They got away from those windows, and when it was time to evacuate, they did the best they could. They got out of that building.
Now, the district added that security officers went right into action. They told the police exactly where the shooter was, the outline of the building, and how to get inside. Now, coming up at 6, I'll have more on the training that made this tragedy less catastrophic than it could have been.
Mercedes, thanks. Up next, the community remembers the lives lost to gun violence in St. Louis, the action organizers are taking to prevent it.
And we still have some downpours across the St. Louis area tonight. Our weather first: allergy count, weeds low, and the mold is moderate. We're coming back on when the rain ends.
Over the next few days, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is testing samples at Jana Elementary School in Florissant. This comes weeks after an independent report found radioactive metals inside the school and on the playground. The Army Corps released new photos today after taking samples from inside the building yesterday. We should learn the results in the next 2 weeks.
Today, the new Costco opened in University City. The location is near Interstate 170 and Olive Boulevard, but it started out with some controversy. The development forced people out of their homes and moved out some minority-owned businesses.
The new Major League Soccer stadium has a new name. What was Centene Stadium is now going by the name City Park. The president of St. Louis City SC made that announcement about an hour ago after discussions with Centene.
Well, it's been a very rainy day, Scott Connell, and it's bringing cooler weather too, but how long is the rain going to last?
You know, we're going to get rid of the rain here as we work through the evening, but still a couple more hours with at least scattered showers around. Some heavier rains falling right now over in Belleville. It's 52 degrees. You can see there's a bit of a breeze. We had some wind gusts earlier this afternoon that were running 40 to 45 miles per hour or so in spots. The winds have settled down some, but it's still a little blustery out there. And yes, we have pockets of showers, even some rumbles of thunder south and east of St. Louis. You're picking up some of that heavier rain now just into the Metro East, and we're nudging 3 inches over here from Cahokia Heights on down towards Columbia and Waterloo. We've really been seeing that rain pick back up here. This area will continue to lift to the north. The back edge of this is still well to our west over mid-Missouri. So we're going to see those showers around, at least the chance continuing with a few more downpours here through the evening hours. It's not quite as widespread as it was earlier this morning. Everything lifts out through the overnight hours. As it does, the back edge of the rain by about midnight creeps into the metro area, and then it kind of fizzles on us as we head towards daybreak. By the time we wake up tomorrow morning, it's cool. Temperatures in the 30s west of St. Louis, low 40s in town, and we will look for an abundant sunshine kind of day tomorrow. There'll still be a pretty good breeze out of the north-northwest throughout the day. Temperatures will warm back to around 60. Low 60s in town through the afternoon hours, and we'll have plenty of sunshine. We see the clouds start to roll back in, though, as we head towards Thursday. Thursday and Friday still pretty quiet, but as we head into the weekend, we are tracking a system. This is going to be for Saturday into Sunday, and you can see as it's going by to our south and to our southeast, it does toss the cloud cover in here, and by Saturday night into Sunday, we may be looking at some scattered showers across the region. Then this will push out. The better chances for more heavier rain would be to the south and southeast of St. Louis. This weekend should be out in time for trick-or-treaters on Monday. 48 degrees right now. That will be our new low temperature for the day. The high was 64. We've had a record-setting rainfall today in St. Louis of a little over 2 inches. Upper 30s, low 40s tonight. Low 60s as the sun returns to St. Louis tomorrow. Still a bit on the breezy side. We'll have highs in the low 60s again Thursday, but it won't be as bright. Friday into Saturday, mid-60s. Clouds roll back in for Saturday. By Saturday night into Sunday, that chance for some showers around. And as we head towards Monday, the clouds kind of scoot out and we shoo them away, and that'll leave us with a good setup for the trick-or-treaters here on Monday evening.
All right, Scott, thanks. Tonight, people from all around the St. Louis area are mourning following the deadly school shooting.
About 30 minutes ago, multiple groups gathered for a vigil remembering those victims and others impacted by gun violence. 5 on your side's Robert Townsend is live at Mount Bethel Missionary Baptist Church in North City.
Kelly and Mike, right now, dozens of community leaders, clergy members, and citizens are packing this church you see behind me for tonight's vigil. Again, it started about 30 minutes ago. Take a look at the video and you can see several speakers are still in the sanctuary here. Organizers call this an interfaith gun safety initiative. Folks are speaking and they're mourning more than 100 children who lost their young lives to gun violence in the St. Louis area in the past 4 years. Now, many of the kids were just 17 years old or younger. Some died in violent situations. Others got their hands on a parent's gun, shot themselves and died. Others were the innocent students shot and killed or injured during the mass shooting at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School yesterday. Now, during this vigil, members of a variety of faiths are speaking out against the incidents and are now pleading for more churches in the St. Louis area to unite, help prevent these tragedies, and save lives of the children in St. Louis. Again, we've seen Mayor Tashara Jones and several church leaders speaking out. I can also tell you this, tonight they are giving away gun locks, free gun locks, to any parent or anyone who wants them. They will also call out the name of every child who lost their life so far this year, including those kids at Central VPA. We're live in North City. I'm Robert Townsend. 5 on your side.
Thank you, Robert. And there are vigils planned, other ones this week, for the victims of the deadly school shooting. Tomorrow there's a balloon release and candlelight vigil at the high school. It starts at 6:30 p.m. And there's another vigil Friday night at the school that starts at 7. And for anyone who needs mental health support right now, here is the number you can call. Project 5 is teaming up with Behavioral Health Response for mental health counseling. Just call 314-469-6644 to talk to a trained counselor. Lines are open through 10:30 tonight. We'll be right back.
The Blues and Oilers will drop the puck in 26 hours at Enterprise, and after last night in Winnipeg, we know 2 things about the note. 1, they're capable of a clunker, and 2, they're not going 82-0. Backup goalie Thomas Greiss saw 42 shots, which is way too many in Craig Berube eyes. After Winnipeg broke a scoreless tie in the second period, they scored twice more in just over 3 minutes. The final was 4-0, and both coach and players were not pleased with the effort.
Bad execution. That's really what the game boiled down to for me, and I think we got frustrated, took some penalties that no need to take them.
Coming off a big emotional game against Edmonton, a big win. You know, whether we wanted it a little easier, we just kind of got away. You know, we have to stick with that game plan and be hard to play against and not be the team to break. But, you know, we broke first.
It was trick-or-treat time with the Blues at Enterprise today. Kids from Children's Hospital had a great time. The Blues partnered with KIP Wisdom Academy, Kids with Cancer, and LifeWise to put on this very fun event. Hey, we knew this day was coming. Skip Schumacher is now a major league manager. He was hired by the Marlins today. He has all the qualities to be successful. The Cardinals are now looking for a bench coach. So a long time ago, the late, great Blues owner, Mike Shanahan, was cutting his grass. His wife said, "Get in the car, our grandbaby was just delivered." He ran into the house, took a shower, and put on a suit. She said, "What are you doing?" He said, "You don't get a second chance to make a first impression." I felt that way watching the Billikens last night, facing UMSL, and this young man made quite the first impression. He is Sincere Parker, and he is sincerely a deadly shooter. He scored more points than any junior college player in America last season. The first 4 times he touched the ball, he scored 11 points in 4 minutes. The net didn't move. In terms of his recruitment, Will Slew fell in love with their first impression of him at Moberly Junior College.
We really were recruiting guards. If you think about it, we had a lot of other guards. Some of them have already left the program, but we had a lot coming back. We weren't really, but I looked at Corey Tay and said, I don't know if we can pass this guy up. I mean, you know, it's hard to find, you know, and loved his personality, things like that.
And I was shooting the video last night, and I was juggling because I was laughing so hard. I felt so good. Oh my goodness, this guy's going to be unbelievable. He is really cool to watch.
All right, we'll look forward to his season. Here's Scott with one last look of the weather.
And we'll give you a quick peek at the radar here. Still some downpours, especially south and east of St. Louis, a few back into St. Charles County. We will watch as the rain winds down later on this evening. We'll stay cool tomorrow, but much brighter.
And there you have it, 5 on your side at 5.
Nightly News is next. We are back at 6. Have a good evening.